Welcome into the 2021 WAC Football Preview Day, our final session here today in Woodlands, Texas. I'm Rachel Vigil, joined with members of Sam Houston's football team. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good. Hey, Rachel.
Good. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know it's towards the end of the day, so we'll make this one fun and easy. We have head coach K.C. Keeler and our preseason offensive and defensive player of the year, Eric Schmid and Jahari Kay. And Coach, I want to start with you. Obviously, national champions. We have the trophy up here. How do you raise the bar for this team to do it again?
Well, winning a national championship is immortality. You have that forever. And winning it a second time is really hard. Really hard. I was blessed to have a team win it in 03, and we went out and we lost the first game in 04. And at that point I realized, boy, we are definitely the hunted. I was blessed as a player to win a national championship in 1979, and we did not get in the playoffs in 1980. And we had a really good football team, but again, when you're the hunted, every game that you play is the highlight of your opponent's schedule. So the great thing is we have the whole team back, which is so unusual. And not only do I have great players back, I have just great people. This is just an amazing group of young men that really are very close, very bonded, and they will take that challenge on. That's the kind of guys they are. They're looking forward to this chance to see if we can repeat as national champions.
You mentioned, obviously, with the history that you have, how can you help all of your players moving forward so that they don't feel that pressure, but they just go out there and play the game?
Well, I think that this season that we just went through, there will be an asterisk. And the asterisk will be that it was the toughest football season any team has ever gone through. And so I don't know how much I really need to help them. I think we've just lived through so much, going through COVID, the historic storm that we had, losing our offensive line coach and defensive line coach just prior to the season, not having a locker room. When you pull up in the morning, that's when we practice, and you see your players walking with their helmets and shoulder pads, you have flashbacks to midget football. And on our national championship ring, there is actually a silhouette of a player walking with his helmet and shoulder pads to practice because they did their own laundry. These are 19, 20-year-old men doing their own laundry every day. So, because we didn't have a laundry facility. So all the things that we went through, I think those experiences, I think they're going to run this thing. And I'm just going to be there to help along the way. But it's an experienced group that has gone through a lot, and I'm excited to get the season going.
Eric, I'll ask you this. How excited are you to have somebody who can hopefully do your laundry then this upcoming fall?
Oh, more than anything.
I also want to ask you, just how bittersweet was it to win a championship in such a unique year already?
It was really cool to just win a national championship as a whole. It was a really fun run. We had some tough games, and so we're really excited to have another opportunity to go and chase that this year.
And Jahari, the greatest of all times always say you can always get better. How can this defense continue to improve off of last year?
We learn from our mistakes. We just look at film and we watch what we can do better.
Now, both of you are obviously in the locker rooms and in the huddle. How strong is the desire to do it again?
We want to do it again. We want to chase the feeling of winning the national championship, and we're very excited to get back to it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. We were talking to Coach Parker in the weight room last week, and he was talking about how he just wants to feel that feeling again that we had on that field. And so that's something that we're going to strive to do, and it was probably one of the most awesome moments of my life, so it's definitely something to work for.
I want to talk to you about that moment coming down, 16 seconds left on the clock, and you throw a touchdown pass. How did that make you a better quarterback?
Everybody always says, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. So, it gives you the confidence to do that again when that opportunity comes. Just getting the reps, in-game reps this past year has made you so much better of a player. So, I'm just looking forward to another year.
What do you remember about that moment?
Just pure happiness, relief, everything. It was everything we worked through and everything that we had gone throughout the entire year. So I was elated.
And Coach, obviously 2 leaders sitting right here with us. How much do you rely on them to really?
Oh yeah, it's their team. It really is, and that's how I coach. I coach in a way where I give a lot of ownership to my players. And it's been very successful for me. And at the same time, I think that's why they grow on to be great husbands and great businessmen and great leaders in their communities, because we do give them a lot of ownership. It's kind of how we run the program. But, talking about, that play where we catch the ball and it seems like we're going to win the national championship, we still have to go 2 more plays. And you realize at that moment that it's so much different winning a national championship versus not. I mean, everyone's going to remember Sam Houston State won the national championship. People are going to forget who we played. And that's hard. I've been on that side a number of times where we were that team you're not going to remember that they played whoever it was, if it was Delaware or Rowan University. And so it was such a great moment, and I've gone back and watched it probably 100 times already. But there was no one open. There was no one open. I think Eric just willed that ball to sneak in that little spot there for us to win the national championship.
What do you remember from that play?
I remember telling my offensive coordinator he needs to have a 4th down play, because what had happened was we converted 4th down. And so I'm telling Ryan, don't worry about the call we just made. If we don't complete this, the game's over. They win. But we can't change personnel because I don't want to spike the ball. I want to have a play ready to go so we can get all 4 plays in. And so that's my job. My job is to manage those moments. And so as soon as we got the 1st down, we got the play in, and we actually got a play off. And I know the announcers were saying they should be killing the ball. Well, we didn't have to kill because we were prepared for that. So that's what I was doing on 3rd down. On 3rd down, it's like, listen, play's called. Let's go to the 4th down play. Because God forbid we hit the dump route and we don't get in the end zone, we can get a play off if we have that personnel in the field and you get the play in immediately. So it was that what ifs. If it's an incomplete pass, we'll have time. But if we get caught inbounds, we can probably get that last play off. And so that's kind of things that we talked about. And so when I saw we scored, it's like, oh, we scored. Because I was a million miles away doing something else, preparing for that next play. But I've gone back and I said I've enjoyed it over and over again. And there was no one open. I mean, really, we willed that. They were in the right defense. They had gone from man to man, and then they switched to zone, and they were sitting in the right defense, and Eric just found that little spot to give us the national championship.
Incredible play, I would like to say. Jahari, now we move on to this next chapter here in the WAC. What was the anticipation like once the rumor started going that Sam Houston would be joining the WAC?
I think we just look forward to playing our first game. We look forward to Northern Arizona. We plan to compete. We plan to compete in this conference, and we plan to win this conference.
And Coach, one last one for you. 243 career wins for yourself, second most in FCS history between coaches. What's allowed you to be so successful?
I have great players. And if I do anything really well is I put together a great staff. So I'm blessed. You don't win as many ball games as I've won by mistake. There is a formula. It's great players. I work really hard at recruiting. And again, if you look at our staff is just phenomenal. And when we put together a staff, it's a jigsaw puzzle. You hire great coaches, but you want better people. And that's what we have. And the relationship, I love watching our players with our coaches, because the relationship that they have, it's special. To me, like I get choked up just watching how they interact together. And it's a family. And again, it's exciting to have this entire team back to see if we can make another run at this thing. And it's going to be hard. And we all know this is not going to be easy. I mean, God knows in a 10-game schedule, we won 5 games basically in the last play of the game. But I think these guys are excited about it, and I think we're going to give it our best shot.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We're now going to open it up to media questions.
Rob Hipp, KSAM Radio. Coach, good to see you guys. Jahari, Eric. I kind of wanted to ask briefly all three of you the same question. And Coach, just start with you and then Eric and Jahari. Obviously the national championship, but outside of that, the biggest takeaway from this season, besides the national championship, of course?
Well, just the growth that we've made. We didn't make the playoffs the last 2 years. We were sort of reinventing ourselves. And it was great to see that everything we decided to tweak with the program, because God knows we won a lot of games my first 4 years. but we weren't in position to win a national championship. And we took a little bit of a gamble as a program, and it's all paid off. And Jahari is such a great example of that because we wanted to get big and physical on both sides of the ball, and we've done that. And you can see we're a much more physical team than we were, 3-4 years ago.
I would say mainly we learned how to win tough football games. The years prior to that, we couldn't figure it out for the life of us in the fourth quarter. So this year was really big for us, figuring out how to win those games, and it gave us a lot of confidence going into the following games and the playoff games.
Yeah, I would agree with Eric too. I think we came in, we learned how to play and trust each other a lot. We came in and play hard, and we set goals before the season, and those goals they're hard to attain. And if you attain those goals and you attain them, you'll play good. So yeah, I think that's what we did.
Hey guys, Dylan Crowley from Texas College Football. First off, congratulations on the championship. Coach, I'll start with you. What's the impact of losing Coach Haynes on the defensive line, and who's going to be filling that role this year?
Yeah, not only is Sadiq just a really good football coach, he's just an amazing person who was a kind of a spiritual leader of our guys also. We did a great job, I thought, attacking the racial injustice situation in our country, and Sadiq was, one of the key people with that. And he came to me and he played for me, and I'm the only one he's ever worked for. And I told him it's time for you to go. I said, we give you roots, we give you wings. And it was tough because, again, he's a guy I brought with me when I first got here. He hopped in that car. I made that phone call. He goes, Coach, it's probably going to take me about 20 hours, but I'm going to be there. And it's tough when those guys, have opportunities and they take those opportunities. But at the same time, I know the defensive line was just so excited for him because, he's a great person and he has a great career in front of himself. And this is the next job that he needs to take.
Thank you. And for Eric and Jahari, what are y'all looking forward to most about the new facilities and the new field house, and how far along has it come up to this point?
I look forward to leaving my pads at the field house. Looking forward to getting my clothes washed, like Coach said earlier, and being able to have a locker room. This past season we didn't have a locker room, and being able to enjoy, the camaraderie in there and being able to chill out after practice. That's what I look forward to.
I'm just excited to get in the locker room. It was a little outdated, and it's nice to have something new, place to hang out, place to be around your teammates and bond with them, and have your own space again finally.
You have to understand, I've promised them a new locker room every year. So when finally Bobby comes to me and says, hey, listen, good news, bad news, we're going to do the locker room, but you're not going to have one for the spring. I said, we'll live with that. I said, but I'm not telling the players. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, they're not going to believe me. I said, you're coming to practice. You're going to tell them we're getting a new facility. So he came out, and we actually had the facility on the Jumbotron pop up as he's telling them about the new facility, and the boys all went wild because every recruiting class we've had the last 6 years, we've told them that, hey, we're getting a new locker room. And so none of those guys believe that story anymore, but now we have it. We're pretty excited about it.
Josh Criswell, Huntsville Item. Coach, you've won national titles at 2 schools now. If y'all are able to go out and repeat, where do you think that would put this team in the grand scheme of greatest FCS programs of all time?
Yeah, like I said, and I'm serious, there should be an asterisk. What these guys did was one of the great feats ever in the history of FCS football. Going through a pandemic and going through not having a locker room, just all the things that we went through as a program. And usually when you have a locker room, your team, that's where your team bonds, is in a locker room. These guys found a way to bond without that locker room. And so, I think that's one of the things we're chasing too. We're chasing part of our legacy. Is this one of the great teams, is this going to be our start, to a run that is historic? And that's what these guys want. I mean, when you come play for me, we're going to talk about trying to win a national championship. And I apologize to the staff because I say, listen, some people think that's hard to, to put that out there. I just can't do it any other way. That's not how I was raised as a coach. I was raised as a coach and raised as a player that you put that ultimate goal out there. That's what you're doing. That's where we're going. So there's no mistaking what direction we're trying to take this thing. So, I think you make a great point. I think our players are very aware that going to win another national championship will put them in rarefied air, and it'd be pretty cool to do that.
Coach back here, Chris Mykoski, ESPN Plus. Obviously, this new conference, this resurrected WAC football, rather, will be able to present some new rivalries that will bud. But the biggest rivalry has obviously been established for about 100 years now. You missed playing Battle of the Piney Woods last season. What are you most looking forward to in facing SFA again down the street at NRG Stadium?
I think that was the only thing that you can say about the 2020 spring season that we didn't have. We didn't have that rivalry game. Everything else was amazing. And I always tell this story, but the very first time we played SFA and we were fortunate enough to win, and we're walking off the field, and I'm walking off with my athletic director, Bobby Williams. I said, "You did not tell me about this game." He said, "I told you." I said, "You didn't give it justice. Like, this is crazy. Like, for 4 hours, there's a lot of hate going on out there. There's a lot of hate going on out there. And it's for 4 hours." I said, "But it's the whole stadium is got a whole lot of hate going on." So it's such a unique rivalry. We're so close in proximity. We recruit the same players. We have such respect for them. I know they respect us. And Colby's done a phenomenal job, and they're going to be raring to go this year. That's for sure. And if you look over the last 10 years or so, or 9 years that we've won in a row, they've not been easy games. There's probably more than half those games they've been winning at some point in the game. So, it's going to be a lot of fun to resurrect that game again and to have all our fans come back, and also doing it as the attacking. We don't call ourselves the defending national champs. We call ourselves the attacking national champs. It's going to be pretty cool.
Any other questions?
Alrighty, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations again on the championship, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you out there on the field this fall.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody that tuned in on the WAC Digital Network and Facebook Live for the WAC Digital Network. I'm Rachel Vio.